Let me ask you a question. Now here we have the homeless maintenance man.
Well, not at the same time,
Well,
but yeah.
in the
It's like
earlier,
a title
earlier
for a book,
stages.
Yeah, right.
Now, right now, you're at your zenith of your career. If you don't mind me asking, you're only doing the type of art you want to do. So you're not accepting all types of art just for the sake of creating money. Right now, what is the backlog you have in the art that you love to do? How many pieces do you have?
Oh, no, I have like 60 paintings yet to paint.
Right, 60
that
paintings.
are ready to, these are people waiting.
And this is only doing the type of art that you have a passion for.
Right, exactly. But
So-
that's interesting because to me, painting is magical. Like, in other words, I look at a blank canvas and it's almost anything that goes on it as it starts to come alive is just fascinating to me. Like, we were talking before about, the way that the technique is, and even like this technique, it almost, like, how you see a painting that it's as flat as the wall it's on. Other paintings have a depth, like you could go in them, you could touch them, you could, and I remember standing at the Metropolitan thinking, how do they do that? And I didn't know how to do it, but something inside me said, I'm going to figure this out. And then there was years of just trying to study the painting techniques of the old masters, because that's all it really is. It's this glazing. It's a technique that gives the illusion of depth. But it took years to figure that out, because no one was teaching it at the time.
When you honor yourself, the universe honors you back.
Absolutely.
And you're completely in the flow. And when you are completely in the flow,
you're untouchable.
Yes, and things come to you. It's fluid. There's no struggle.
Because life can't hit a moving target.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So what you needed came to you. You were able to study the other masters and learn technique.
Right.
You were supported by the art that you were doing in your success, so that you could figure out how the masters painted. That gave you this freedom.
Oh, absolutely. And it was fascinating. It's like, anything that you learn from it is magical. Like, life is such a great adventure. I can't fathom, again, I used to, but now that I see the other side of it, that cup is half full. Always has been.
It sounds like you've given up the struggle. This is play.
That's exactly
for you.
That's exactly right. It's almost like the Buddha has a great thing about searching. He said, you're searching for enlightenment or searching for anything. It's like riding an elephant, looking for an elephant. I own the elephant. I get it. I'm not looking, I'm not searching. I'm actually at an almost constant state of peace. And on the like, I remember I used to be like maybe 10 minutes a week. I'd feel good because all the rest of the time I was depressed and all this other stuff. Now it's like I'd say maybe like during the course of a week, maybe 5 minutes I'll start to nosedive briefly, but I just come right out of it. That's not who I am.
I know a lot of artists feel that their creativity comes from their pain, and they refuse to give it up.
Yeah, that to me is crazy.
Yeah, you gave it up.
I want to be happy,
And look what you're creating.
Yeah, because I don't want to look at, like, a lot of people like to identify with Van Gogh. I must suffer. No one was going to notice my life till I die.
And you have 2 ears.
Yeah, exactly.
Note of that.
And I drank a lot of absinthe, didn't seem to do anything. But, because that's how Van Gogh, anyway. So I thought, I'm looking at these box people, and the box cat, the box people, and I'm thinking, I'm identifying with Picasso. I plan to make it in my lifetime. And like, one of my fantasy things is, one of these box people, I'm going to be walking out of MoMA after they've installed this stuff we have. And that's coming really soon.
For real, or you're visualizing this?
Both.
If you visualize it, and to the minutest
Well, in my
degree,
world,
in
my world, it's happening now.
That's amazing.
I'm just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up to it.
This is Dr. John Querci.
If anybody hasn't noticed
if
that.
anyone hasn't noticed, it's not his twin. What got you? This hasn't been done before.
That's
so what
exactly
was the
right.
genesis of this?
Oh yeah, the first thought, and it's kind of funny because the first one was a man actually trapped in his box. It's actually like the hands are up, he's actually physically trapped in it. And again, like I said before, I don't like the negative thoughts or anything. I just don't go there. I don't see the purpose to it. It's like sitting in the dark when you could really turn a light switch on and everything is fine. But it was that sort of thought about the war, the economy, all this other stuff, and I thought some people feel trapped. So I actually did a little study of a guy trapped in a box, and I thought, wait a minute, why don't I make this dimensional? And it was the only painting I ever did like that that's sort of negative, because I think all paintings should be positive, whimsical. You should look at them and feel good. There's enough pain in the world, and I don't want to add to it, and because it's senseless. It's just such a waste of energy. So, but in any event, it was the catalyst to these box people.
I want to pet the cat. It's
I
so
know.
real looking.
It's my daughter's cat, so it's a real cat. It's going to be one of the most famous cats in art history, this one, Bella.
Wow.
Bella in a box,
Bella.
yes. But yeah, it's just again, going where no one has gone before. It's like, it was like Picasso. He would, look at multiple images and put it on a flat plane. So I just started looking at multiple images and putting them on multiple planes, and it's like it's.
Now the portrait of John, or the box figure of John and the cat and Bella,
Yeah.
it's them from every angle.
Right.
What is the intention with that?
Again, it's just like looking at something like it's never been looked at before. I mean, in reality, this is how it looks.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is actually to watch people when they walk around it. It's almost like you could see like in other words, you go to one point and you're looking at it and you're saying, this is right. And then you hit the corner and say, it's not right, but it is right. And watching that sort of fascination. And I honestly think it's something like the first time people saw something like Cubism. Some people got it, some people didn't. But, it was ahead of, it's a weird thing. It's kind of ahead of its time. I didn't mean to say that. Anyway, so it's like, it's just new, it's different, and it's amazing to watch people look at it. Like, they're in a gallery actually in Wilkes-Barre, and it's interesting to watch people come in because a family, the younger the children are, they seem fascinated by it. They just can't look at it. And some of the adults walk around it. But it was really funny because I actually was there 2 days just to see the reaction. And this one guy came in and said, oh my God, he goes, this is the neatest thing I have ever seen. And he's walking around it raving about it. He says, oh, this is amazing. The very next day, a guy comes in and says, this is the stupidest thing I have ever seen.
Right, yeah.
And so what do you do?
It's the yin and yang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah. But I would imagine that where adults looking at this might feel boxed in is that it's not sculpture sits on a floor. Sculpture it stands in the as the predominant piece on the floor. We think, well, if it's a painting, it belongs on the wall.
Right.
And we're in a box about that.
Yes.
So people need to expand how art can be viewed and appreciated.
I was actually trying to fuse sculpture and painting. That was part of the gist of it.
What it really comes down to have adventure, you have to feel comfortable with the uncomfortable. You have to step out of the ordinary and the common. And once you realize that it's safe out there, that you can do it, then the world opens up to you in endless opportunity.
Well, see, I think the world's a playground.
It is.
And that's how I wake up every day saying, what kind of adventure am I going to get myself into today?
Right.
But it's
and
a playground.
It never gets boring. It
No,
never gets
yes,
stale.
right.
And it's always exciting. The thing that causes us to get boxed in, where the world gets stale, where we get bitter and angry, is one simple word: fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what may happen, what's anticipated in our own mind. And if you let that all go and follow your heart, bring in the love and the passion and then the creativity and just forge forward.
Oh yeah, you're right. Fear is like something I can't even comprehend anymore. It's such a...
It's not part of your vernacular.
No, not at all. It's like, after, some of these different experiences, I said, like the homeless thing, I thought, once you face that, what can you possibly be afraid of? That's the worst thing you could think of. Well, you survived it.
Yeah.
You know, I realized you could live on what is it, a Subway hoagie, like for like 4 days in a row. I mean, you know, you buy one and one half of it's for lunch,
Yes,
and the
right.
other half's for dinner.
Right,
So,
yeah.
you know, maybe we should contact them about an ad or something.
You know, basically, to wrap this all up,
Yeah, okay.
we're looking at someone who's stepped out, followed his true passion, with all the odds against you. I mean, at least if you were homeless in Manhattan, you'd have a lot more opportunity than homeless in Wilkes-Barre. And if you're in
Yeah, something to consider that next time.
the chance of Michelle Roux stopping by would be not so uncommon.
Right, yeah. Oh,
But he
yeah.
has this little bungalow in the middle of nowhere, this town that has 500 people in it, and you're painting the walls and he finds you.
I call it law of attraction.
It's amazing.
It's divine order, completely.
So this has really been a pleasure.
You are inspiring.
Oh, you haven't seen anything yet.
I can't wait.
And this is what people really have to see. But they have to take this not only in art and business,
Oh, yeah,
but in
right.
love, passion,
Absolutely.
everyday life. Step out
I say if I
Feel
could do
it,
it,
smell
anybody
it.
could do it.
and experience life. And don't worry. Don't be concerned about what may happen. Mays never materialize. So thank you.
Well,
Thank you
you're
for being
welcome.
on our show.
Oh, my pleasure.
You are a teacher of teachers. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
I hope you took notes.
Once again, from fear to love. One major choice and a bunch of little baby steps.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll be selling the DVD after the show.
So free. Come with me, 'cause mentally I'm lovely. To be loved, fearlessly to be loved. So holy, BuddhaBaby, shake me in my belly. To be loved.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight on our weekly talk show, From Fear to Love, with this very special feature on Uncommon Ground. It was really interesting to hear from such a renowned artist and where he came from.
I want to go home and paint.
So
I do.
follow your heart. Follow your heart. Be confident in what you feel. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. And say no to no. And keep going.
Thank you for watching.
See you next week.
Namaste.
Namaste.